Welcome to another exciting edition of COMX-TV. We're your weekly guide to the comic book world. I'm Mike.
And I'm Steve.
And we're glad you're watching. Let's kick it right into our comics news.
Okay, I only got one bit of news this week, but Mike will cover for me. Batman the Animated Movie, Mask of the Phantasm, adapts to film, releases on Christmas Day 1993. It is its adaptation of the book by the same name. Another one is being written right now. So, we told you a little earlier about the Batman animated movies. Proves to it right now.
Christmas Day.
Christmas Day, it's being released.
Are the theaters open?
Yeah, as far as I know.
And the book that everyone has been waiting for has finally arrived. Solar number 29 from Valiant Comics is now in the stores. It might be sold out by now, but this incorporates the new 3D process called Valiant Vision, which utilizes full-color books. You don't have to use the little red and blue glasses that you're so used to in 3D process that you always see. The main thing you'll notice is that the coloring on the ink for the lettering is red. That's the main difference. Otherwise, the books look pretty much the same as any other color book. What you get is, in order to utilize the 3D process, you have to get the Valiant Vision Starter Kit. Now, included in the kit is a little comic that explains the 3D process. You get the Valiant Vision glasses, which are actually just clear glasses that, when you look through them here, you can't really see anything different other than, I mean, it's sort of...
Distorts. Color distortion.
It changes the perception of the colors. And you also get a poster that's in Valiant Vision. So, for $2.95 you get this. You don't have to buy that. And that makes this whole thing kind of neat. The Solar comic is good, and we will review that on another show. ComicFest 93 in other news, which was held in Philadelphia in October, was attended by the ComX-TV staff. It proved to be the convention of 1993. A record 33,000 people attended the four-day event, wow, which featured every major publisher except Valiant, but they were there, even though they didn't have a booth. There was many small publishers, many artists, and more than 50% of the attendees to this show had never been to a comics convention before. So this introduced a lot of new people to comics, and 22% of the attendees were between the ages of 8 and 12. So there's a lot of young people out there reading comics still. The next Comic Fest is already planned for June 17th to 19th in New York City. So stay tuned, as we'll bring you more about that sometime down the road. And lastly this week, Death Talks About Life is a small 8-page book from DC Vertigo. It's being reprinted by popular demand. It's about AIDS awareness. And it's written by Neil Gaiman with art by Sandman cover artist Dave McKean. The book offers frank, explicit, life-saving advice about the HIV virus and AIDS prevention. There's also additional information and organizations to contact regarding HIV and AIDS. So that's a little public service thing that they've done, and I guess they must have sold out the first run there, and people want it back. It's an important subject.
Something different. Getting a good point across.
Something different. Steve is something different. So, we're going to kick off right into our reviews, and Steve shall begin.
All right. For my first book today, I'm going with The Three Musketeers, number 1 or 2 by Marvel, for $1.50. This one is an adaptation from the hit movie. Young D'Artagnan tries to join the Musketeers after the evil Cardinal Rocelli disbanded them. It's up to D'Artagnan and the Three Musketeers to save the young king. The color in this one was good, the story was great, and this is overall fabulous entertainment for the whole family. It's not only for kids, not only for adults. I got to see the movie, and it was fabulous. This book, I gave this a top rating because I really liked it.
You liked the movie?
I liked the movie. The movie was fabulous too, with Charlie Sheen and whoever else, Kiefer Sutherland, and it was good. For number 2, I'm going with Star Wars, Tales of the Jedi, number 1 of 5 for $2.50 by Dark Horse. This one is called The Beast Wars of Odeon. This one takes place on the furthest moon, Duxon, puts a young Jedi warrior in the middle of a civil war to protect a princess. And when the princess is captured and kidnapped, it's up to the young Jedis to get her back. This one I really like too. This one, I feel this one is better than the old Star Wars series that everybody's seen the movie on. This depicts a little more on the Jedis, how they became, what's going to become of them, and a lot of lightsaber action, which I like them. So this one I gave a good rating to also. For my third one, this is a confusing one here. Melting Pot #1, $2.95. I previewed this one a couple months back, and I said it looked really interesting. I previewed the little card too. This one is for mature readers. It's something different. I'm doing one of Mike's.
Why did you read it?
Why? Because I really like this kind of stuff. This book was started back in 1986 and took this long to finish. It's about a war a long time ago with futuristic beings. The artwork in this one was good. I'm not going to say very good. It was good. The color is really, really vivid. I like all the colors. A lot of greens, blues, reds. It's a very violent magazine, though. Like I said, it's for mature readers.
Blood.
I like this one, though. Like I said, it's done by the same people that did Heavy Metal, I believe. And you know what I thought about Heavy Metal and Captain Stern. But I like this one. So if you're a mature reader, go out and buy this one.
What if you're immature?
If you're immature, don't bother. Like Michael, immature. Okay, for my fourth and final one, this one takes tops. This is The Marvels, book 1 of 4, The Time of Marvels. It's a little bit pricey, still worth the money though at $5.50. This one tells the Human Torch life story, how he became, and it also puts the Human Torch up against an ally and foe, the Submariner, until they become friends and take on the Nazis. Now also in this one is Jay Jameson is a beat reporter, one of the first appearances, and Nick Fury without the eye patch going into war. It was really good. This book was really, really worth the money. This has got to be one of the top books that I've read so far. Like I said, there's going to be 4 of these. There's something really unique about this book too. The cover of it has a clear plastic cover. Show the cover a second. A clear plastic cover, which you open up and has it. The picture of the Human Torch inside. But it's clear plastic. This is the first time I've seen an actual book like this. This one was really worth it, and I gave this one the top rating that I've given in a long time. I really liked it. It's a series that I think everybody should check out.
Yeah, this has some real nice painting.
Awesome artwork. The story, I mean, it's really, really beautiful.
Looks,
very, very, very good.
All right.
And that's the end of mine. Now we go to Mike's Indie Reviews.
Well, before I get into the independent reviews themselves, we'd like to debut another Pepe debut, another Comics TV exclusive feature. This is the Indie Review with Dan DeBono. Dan is the publisher of Indie Magazine, and he has agreed to produce a weekly segment for Comics TV where he will address many issues related to independent publishers.
Hi. My name is Dan DeBono, and I am the editor and co-publisher of a magazine entitled Indie. And what Indie is a guide to the independent comic world. Now when I talk about independent comics, I'm not referring to Image or Valiant or Defiant. Those are independent companies, or considered independent companies, but they're kind of bigger and up there in the ranks of the Marvel and DC type books. So what we do is we try to give press time to smaller companies such as Absolute Comics, Anarchy, Pocket Change Comics, Mule High Graphics, Eugenis, London Night Studios, Rebel Studios, Sky Comics, Heroic Comics, Blazer Studios, One Shot Press, New England Comics, Raging Rhino Productions, Wingspan Productions, Rat Graphics, and many, many more that are on this list. And what we'll do is we'll highlight a specific creator, a specific book, we'll review books, we'll interview artists, interview writers. We have our own comic in the back of this magazine, and basically what we do is just try to spread the word on these books. And that is what I'm going to be doing for Comic TV. I'm going to basically be doing that in a video format, however, though, instead of on paper. What we'll do is we'll have shows on horror comics or adult-only comics, keeping it clean, of course. Comics that are independent superhero companies, and just a whole lot more, because there are a lot of things out there, fantasies, horror, and stuff that really no one knows about that are pretty good. Some of the upcoming shows we're going to do are Rebel Studios, which is also going to be an indie in March of '94. and that will be the talented Tim Vigil, and we'll highlight his work and what he is doing. Another show we're going to do is on Drew Hayes, the creator of Poison Elves. That is a very good book that I highly recommend to everyone to read. We're going to be doing things on Bowana Beach, just all sorts of independence. But for this first show, I was just going to introduce myself, which I already did, and I'm going to show you guys some pages from the few indie magazines that have already been published. We're now working on issue 4, which is going to be issue number 1, because it will now be co-published with Everett Hartsoe, who is the publisher of the flourishing London Night Studios, and his book, Razor. I should know those things. But anyway, I will be publishing that, the monthly magazine with Everett for now on, so you can find it in your distributor catalogs, and you'll also find us on the ComicTV here.
Okay, I have decided that as I review the many independent and small press books that I do, I will be a bit more critical of them than I have been. There's sort of an unspoken word in the small press community that, you don't say anything bad about my book, I won't say anything bad about yours, but I figure I'm going to be a little more critical, because if they're putting out junk, then they should know it.
Then people should save their money instead of buying it and buy a better indie.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, my first one this week is, it fits right into the small press category. It's Troy Hickman, is one of the more popular small press people. He's won several awards this year from the Small Press Syndicate, including Best Writer and Best Digest. The book I'm reviewing this week, Tales of the Pathetic Club, is being reprinted by Chiasmus Comics next year, so Troy has stepped a little bit past that small press boundary, and somebody else is going to be reprinting some of this. Tales of the Pathetic Club #2 is a black and white book with art done by Pam Bliss, who is another small press person in her own right. This is a story of Dr. Edward Stein, who's keeping account of individuals who have some weird, peculiar disorders, personality disorders. And what they do is, in this book here, in the first half, he follows a used car salesman who spends his nights logging the activities of self-serve gas station clerks. He sits in a car across the street logging their activities, and he knows which are the best clerks and which aren't. And then in the second half, there's this person who is a self-appointed superhero. She walks a 6-block area around her house and patrols it, and it's okay. The story is different. It's something you don't see too often. Actually, I've never seen anything like it, but the art is pretty good. It needs some work. It's not the greatest. She attempts to draw her figures realistically, yet they aren't that accurate. The story is pretty good. It's worth a look, but it's something that you want to think about. It's obviously you're going to have to send away for it. It's $1, and you can get that probably through the mail. My second one this week is called Vendetta, Holy Vindicator, #1 of 4. It's written and illustrated by Stephen McArdle from Red Bullet Comics, which is his own imprint. The story is about Damon Scott, head weapons creator for Chemicorp, who was killed by his employers with his own creation. Now, he's horribly disfigured, so he decides to come back, and he comes back as Holy Vindicator, and he wages war on the corrupt. The book is black and white. It's printed in standard comic book size on heavy stock paper, which is kind of nice. So he spent a few bucks putting this thing together. I give him credit for that. It's a pretty good book. He went all the way. The art is good. I thought it was good. He's not Todd McFarlane, but it's good art, and the story is good. It's $2, limited 500 copies of the first issue. So if you would like to take a look at that one, it's $2, and you can contact us here, and we can get you in touch if you can't find it in your local store. And #3 this week is called Susie Romaine. It's another small press mini comic. It's by Ted Slampiak of Pennsylvania. I got something from him when I was down at ComicFest, and he calls Susie the embodiment of individualism and individual liberty. Her battles are solely to retain her rights from people who are trying to take them away. So it's kind of a neat thing. His art is very, very good. He's definitely got the comic book style art. The art is very good, and Susie Romaine is going to be produced in a 6-issue full-size comic in 1994. In this issue, the government is after Susie. For some reason, they're always tracking her, and she wins out in the end, of course. The stories are pretty good. They're only like 8 pages long, and they're only 50 cents each. I suppose if you weigh it, it's not really that equal, but it's not a bad book. I think these might be worth getting, because if his 6-issue book comes out and it's anything decent, people will be looking for these early issues. And that's number 3. My last one this week is titled Eugenius. We have a short interview with Victor Ramon Mojica, who is the creator.
What's the book based on? What's it about? It's set in the 31st century, and it's about the next step to human evolution. Self-published? Yes, it is. Yep. And I illustrated it and designed it and inked it and penciled it myself.
You wrote it?
Yes. And it's been well received by the market industry people.
Has it?
Yes. It's been featured in Comic Book Collector, Indie, the independent guide to comic books, and in Comics Buyer's Guide. And they all gave it favorable reviews.
Yeah? Great.
Issue number 1 is going to be out of circulation after ComicFest '93.
Oh, yeah? Now, how long is this? Have you done other comic books before? Or
No,
is this it?
I was a children's book illustrator, editorial cartoonist, and a DP manager for about 13 years.
Oh, yeah?
Before getting into comics. Originally, I was a freelance artist. Fell out of the art world after the recession of '75. Went into data processing, and during the recession of '90, got back into art again. So I came full circle.
What made you come up with the idea?
I came up with the idea as far back as 10 years ago, even further, late '70s. And I've been working on it ever since. Until 1992, when I decided to go to print. I was ready.
You've been doing a lot of shows?
This is my first show.
Okay, so this book has gotten good reviews, as Mr. Mojica said. It's a very good book. It's the art in here is, I think it's excellent art. The story is about these paragons who are like the head of the world in the future, and basically they're the only ones who can control everything. They're the only ones who carry firearms, which they rarely use, and their word is final. They're like the rulers of the whole world. And Eugenius is one of them. He just became one. In the first issue, he became one. And basically, this is just an ongoing story dealing with different things that happen in this futuristic time, and with these paragons and Eugenius in particular. There's no superhero involved here. They're all just basic people here. But it's a good book. I liked it. It's $2.50. It's released quarterly. This one you might be able to pick up in a store. If not, once again, you can get a hold of us here. And I think this one is definitely worth your time and money. So if there's ever anything that we talk about on here, any books that we talk about that you can't find in a store, first of all, check with your store owner. See if they can find the book, because a lot of times the books are available, but every store can't carry every book because there's just too many out there. And if you can't, if it's a small press book that they might not carry or might not know about, write us here and we can see if we can track it down for you. And that's the end of our reviews for this week. Now we're going to go on to our picks of the week. Steve will give you his preview pick of the week.
Okay, my preview pick this week, short but to the point. Transformers Generation 2, number 5, $1.75 from Marvel. When Optimus Prime gets a metaphysical he gets metaphysical. Readers get a look into the mystical side of these new multi-ton war machines. Now, I got a chance to review the first Transformers Generation 2, and I told you I really liked it, but it seems the story's getting a little more interesting. They're figuring out they got different powers than when they were younger and the Generation 1, and it sounds really interesting.
Is this Generation 2, are they the same people, same cars or whatever?
Well, they supposedly look the same, but they're nothing like it. I showed you a picture of what Optimus Prime looked like back then and what he looks like now. Same name, but definitely a different body. Bigger, stronger, more weapons, interesting stuff.
Sounds
still fun to readers.
Sounds interesting.
Sounds fun.
Sounds interesting.
Sounds interesting.
Okay, my pick this week is a book by Kevin Eastman and Simon Bisley, which Steven just did Melting Pot, and they're also the creators of that one. This one is also from Kitchen Sink Press. That one was, wasn't it?
Yes.
This is called Project X, Thumping Guts. It's a ghoulish, psychotic demigod named Mentalhead is jostled from his prison beneath the ocean floor. His mission? Raise some hell and destroy the Earth.
Sounds fun.
4 powerful beings, Megagod, Vito, Stab, and Detonate, are beckoned by an unseen force to take him out for good. There's non-stop action, battles, creatures, and babes in this story. There are 3 different covers and 3 different endings, which sounds definitely interesting.
Different.
It comes polybagged with 1 of 6 trading cards. There's an 11x17 poster and a letter from Eastman and publisher Dennis Kitchen reminding readers what collecting is all about. It's a bit pricey at $4.95, and it's definitely gimmick laden with the 3 different colors, the 3 different endings, the poster, the card. There's a lot of stuff there, but I suppose if you want to go and spend a lot of money, you can get all 100 different versions of it.
Yeah.
The story itself sounds kind of good, so that's that for this week.
Okay.
And now we do our what we call our convention mentions, and those are here. And that was the convention mention for this week. So, ending up this show like we have the past few weeks, we will give you some footage from ComicFest 93. We've got, I picked out some stuff, including Vampirilla and Marilyn Monroe and a couple other things. So, Steve will end our show as he always does.
Okay. Next time you patronize your local comic shop, buy a comic, read it. Just don't throw it on a shelf. Don't let your mother get to it. And just read it.
Don't vacuum it.
Don't vacuum it. Read the books. They're worth it. You're spending the money for them. Take care of them. Next time you go there, tell them you've seen it on
ComicX-TV.
See ya.
See you next week.
Here we are still at the Comics Convention, and now we're videoing Marilyn Monroe. Watch out. Excuse me. Come here, I'll give you. Give us a smile.
At 6:30 in Hall. Children's Exhibition Comics will be there to receive some 21 awards for the most favorite comic artists, writers, and superheroes. There's also an award for the Hollywood.
This is the Dark Horse Comics display. They've got a big corner here at ComicFest. This is a lot of their titles that we're viewing right here. Got some of the artists, guests here. Get some close-ups. They do a lot of different titles, including Sin City, Next Man. They've got Comics Greatest World, which has been going on all summer. Martial Law, Aliens. They do RoboCop. They do a lot of different titles. Oh, in fact, they do floaters also.